Hey, what is going on YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are in none other than the Prinz Eugen, the Admiral Hipper class beast of a heavy cruiser. Now, I'm going to be honest, with the recent buff to the Hipper, you're probably better off playing the Hipper, but I wanted to grind some credits here, and I just like this ship for its historic value. This ship will fought the Hood and the Prince of Wales in the Battle of the Denmark Strait with the Bismarck. So just a ship that holds a little bit of historic value for me. Now we are running the Special Commander Augustin Riegerwald with the improved AP pen. I don't recommend speccing too much into specific builds like that, mainly because you don't know what the game is going to give you. That being said, the Germans already have pretty decent HE penetration. They have the quarter pen there, so your HE is going to do some damage. You just lose a little bit of DPM with that reload and that lack of fire chance. But here we are in this game. We are on Tears of the Desert, and thank goodness it is domination. I don't mind Epicenter. I just prefer domination 10 times over Epicenter, and especially capture the base. But putting our cruiser in a defensive position here, if you'll notice, there's only 3 battleships, so this is a pretty well-rounded game. There is one carrier, and that is a weakness of most German ships, is you don't have great AA. But putting yourself in this defensive position out here on the flank will allow you to get out of that situation and also pretty much maximize your DPM. Now, something a few of you may notice, a few of you that especially have this ship, we are not running the reload booster. You can switch out your hydroacoustic search for the reload booster, but I just think that is a selfish play personally, especially if you're taking up a cruiser slot without a radar. A reason I don't play some of these more, I guess, unique ships is their lack of radar. I think radar is so essential for cruisers if you're trying to be competitive, but some nights you just want to go out, have a little bit of fun, play the game. Anyway, though, we're pushing in on this Benham. I think one of our other cruisers' radar. We're going to go ahead and turn out here while still trying to keep guns on target. Your turret traverse isn't the best, but just enough to get the job done. The reason we're turning out here is that Siegfried popped around the corner, very dangerous threat to our broadside, especially at these medium ranges. The turtleback will help you at close ranges, but it will hurt you at medium and long ranges. That plunging type fire will go directly into your citadel. Here, this Atlanta is going to test me. Medium range with this AP. Oh, this guy gets so lucky. And this is part of the reason you play this build, to find people who want to make these type of mistakes. This Atlanta has probably gotten overpenned numerous times, but not today, buddy. He actually got overpenned there. And we're focusing on the AP. We shot AP at that Benham, but your gun caliber, if it's less than 280, you can actually do full pens to destroyers. So keep that in mind. Battleships are obviously always going to overpen. But these 203s, we got a few full pens on a few destroyers in our Baltimore. Getting trolled a little bit with RNG, but on this shot, this is where the Atlanta learns that you shouldn't mess with the AP from this thing. Engine out and multiple citadels on him. He was just sitting there broadside. He should have paid for it a lot sooner, but with a decent reload, we finally got him to pay. So I think on stream I said, that's what this AP should do. Every time. But yeah, that is why you run Augustin Riegerwald to get that little improved salvos. And again, we're getting the broadsides here when you can get the broadsides. And that was a discussion we had on stream. The Hipper is probably just a little bit of a better boat with it's got a faster reload, and just I think there's a few traits that make the Hipper just a little bit better. Yes, the Eugen has like one extra plate of armor, but that to me just doesn't justify playing a ship which is basically the same with a better. I'm not exactly sure the other features, but I know that the Hipper has a better reload. Here's something I want you guys to also notice. We're kind of out here on this flank. Our team has the strong side, so we need to kind of either turn back in or push this strong side. On top of that, you can see this Edinburgh pop out of his smoke here. Now, I wanted to go dark for a few reasons. I wanted to get back towards the fight a little bit closer, and that Synop was right there. So I don't want to push into a ship that can overmatch me in the Synop, nor do I want to chase the kite of the Siegfried, right? A losing play is chasing kites. Kiting is what this Siegfried is doing. He is angled away. He is retreating to his side of the map. Now, something we just were saying on that Edinburgh, we took out our torpedoes. That is something you guys can use, especially for ships that are kind of recently out of smoke. And there's another 2 Citadels, and the Massachusetts just skill issued that Edinburgh. I wish we got a few more shots on him, but There again, I'm like, that's what this AP should do every time. It's so nice when you can punish broadsides. That is one of I think that's like everyone's biggest complaint in this game is just not being able to punish broadsides. But these medium heavy cruisers like that, when positioned correctly and aimed correctly, can absolutely abuse players who are not paying attention. Now, something I wanted to note, I didn't really finish that point, is you can take out your torpedoes when you have them to see the direction that ships are going. That was the point I was trying to make with that Edinburgh. Here, we're risking a little bit of broadside. The Siegfried, though, not the most accurate, not the deadliest ship. It's a decent ship, but just the Aegir is better in every sense. And there we get a few shells landing a touch short. Shells don't land short, right? Here, though, we're just trying to abuse this Siegfried's broadside while pushing back in. If you'll notice on the right side or the bottom half, near the sea cap, essentially, our team is starting to lose the game. We're actually tied pretty much evenly. We got this one cap a touch before they did, but you can see the enemy has pushed our crossfire. They have all their ships looking at our side of the map, so we need to either expand that or just go deep north. But considering we're already back on this south side near D, that's what we're going to do. You can see that the carrier is actually getting chased a little bit, so we're going to go try to defend him as well. Paying attention to the minimap is something that, like, 80% of players don't do. Instead, they whine about divisions and other things. So just make sure you're paying attention to that minimap, solo or otherwise. This game is also solo, so just another little cheap jab at the division play comment. But anyway, here this Iowa, he is chasing that carrier. I didn't know it at the time, but a destroyer was spotting that carrier, and I learned it very quickly. Why? Because I'm still spotted right here. The Iowa's behind the island. And you can, I think I said something on stream, paying attention to things like that will help you just improve your situational awareness, right? Now, granted, we were all new players, but I see a lot of comments on Facebook. It's like, why are destroyers invisible? I should be able to see them. Well, if you're spotted and nothing is in your line of sight in your detection, you might want to guess that there's a destroyer there. And that's why I also recommend trying to play all classes of ships. Why? Yes, destroyers can be cheesy in their concealment. A lot of Japanese destroyer players play the Shimakaze and they think that they're a good player. Like last night we played on stream and there was a Kamikaze player. Like, okay, dude, how good, do you need to feel about yourself? But playing those classes of ships just every now and then, or, it doesn't have to be a Japanese destroyer, but playing destroyers to understand how they play will help your battleship play. It will help your cruiser play, right? If you play radar cruisers against destroyers, it will help your destroyer play. I hear a lot of destroyer players when carriers and a lot of radar cruisers were added. It's like, well, there needs to be a nerf cruiser button or nerf radar. It's like, no, you just need to be better. Just get better. Just get good, kid. Here, though, this Kagero goes dark. I can't really chase this Kagero too much, although I do need to defend against this Iowa. So what I'm going to do is actually just back up in this position. We still have our hydroacoustic search. If I'm being honest, our reload booster, the reload booster probably would have been a little more effective in this game. We would have been able to DPM better. But now our team is on the throw path. We just lost that Wichita, and we have already lost our carrier, so they are up huge. Anytime you lose a carrier before the other carrier, you should win that game. So we had a game the other night where we got cranky early, and our team still lost. Like, that should just never happen. But here, our Hessiang makes a beautiful play of getting detected. I don't know why destroyer players, yeah. Anyway, you should never be detected at this juncture in the game. Now, carrier aside, but a battleship detecting a destroyer is that's just like allowing a center in basketball to run the court on you, or like I don't know. It's just like it's not a great destroyer play. But this Hessiang lives. He gets a torp on target, so that's why we have the HE out. On top of that, the Iowa is angled, so besides abusing maybe 20k of his superstructure with AP overpens, we're not going to be getting that much damage. Now, he does turn broadside, but I want that fire, right? I want to be ticking that damage. We do switch to the AP here, but unfortunately, that is when the Kagero comes out, so we do need to support this Hessiang, but trying to hit shots at this range, I'm just kind of wasting time, right? On top of that, I have that Iowa, and I need to defend that cap. This Kagero can live, and we can still win the game. I bet that Hessiang wish he has his smoke now instead of wasting it in front of that Iowa. Here, though, I'm going to let that Kagero just go. The Hessiang has lost this fight, and we need to defend this cap. We killed the Siegfried, taking the points closer to our favor. So if we killed this this Iowa, then we will be ahead on points. I was a little bit critical of the Massachusetts in the game, but that is why sometimes it's difficult to judge in game, except for this Hessiang dying or getting spotted by a battleship. Because the Massachusetts actually finishes with a fairly great score. But here, this Iowa is focused on them now, so we can go ahead and make this turn. We're going to go and push towards this Kagero, and this is where the Hydro is going to be useful. On top of that, we're trying to just DPM this Iowa and not get killed by the other battleship on our flank there. So using overview camera, which we talk about a lot, is another reason that I like controller preset 5 or the ability to use overview camera. It has nothing to do with accuracy. Let's just dispel that myth right now. It is nothing to do with accuracy. It is just simply so I can see more of the battlefield, right? When I'm aimed down sights, a lot of people just are left trigger all the time. And there goes our Colorado getting dev struck. And that's when I'm like, okay, we might lose this game. I'm not sure. The Massachusetts was full health, but he's quickly given that advantage away, which is why I was a little critical of him during the stream. Him and that Colorado kind of sat in the A cap, not really developing any other firing angles, nor any other position or caps. I feel like a lot of battleship players are just scared to play their ship. They don't want to get HE spam. They don't want to get torped by a destroyer. But by failing to get positions, especially in the mid game, here we get a little bit of a risky salvo. But he hit the tail section there as we were turning to dodge torpedoes. But there is the high caliber. The AP to that mid section of the Iowa is going to, well, besides RNG absolutely trolling us, is going to, smack most battleships. And that is when the Kagero decides to shoot. So we switched to the HE, but unfortunately our AP did not finish the Iowa. And we just have to have him dead. Now this Massachusetts, I think, looks like he's getting a few secondaries on, but he goes behind that island, so he can't really help us. Again, I was critical of the Massachusetts in the moment, but we'll wait for the final scoreboard. The reason we just have to have that Iowa dead is because of the salvo we just took. Now we have managed our health very well, so we can sail half broadside in this situation. This is the point to use your HP that you did not during the game, and that is why we angle in the beginning. That is why we take those defensive positions. A lot of people think that you have to YOLO rush in the first 5 minutes. And while, yes, it is fun to YOLO rush in German ships and get your torpedoes off, it is usually a detriment to your team. Here, though, we are in this position where this Kagero is out on our right. We have the carrier, trying to drop this Massachusetts in B, and we have, I think it was the Sinop still in A. So we need to kill the Sinop, defend A, and get B if we want to win. You can see we're down 140 points. A battleship is worth approximately 100 points. It's different for each class of ship. On top of that, we need to prevent the Sinop from getting A. I'm not sure why he backed out of the cap here, but we're going to go ahead and push in here, and that's when we get spotted by the Kagero here through the gap. So we previously used our Hydro to try and push him, but the Kagero was smart. He ran away. So no luck with that, which is why I said earlier that, using the reload booster might have been better for this match, but I just don't like wasting that utility, especially from, such a strong Hydro that the Germans have. Here, I tried to take a cheesy shot through the island, and I think they all hit the... I tried to get it through, and then both turrets end up hitting the island here. No, sorry, we got one penetration, so 1 out of the 8 made it through here. Again, I'm not sure why that Sinop backed out of the cap. Maybe he was realizing that if he lives, he will, give his team that point advantage. But if he would have gotten the cap, I think we lose this game. Here, again, we get absolutely trolled with RNG. We did get a fire, but I think he put it... But the Massachusetts ended up getting that kill anyway. So here, though, the Massachusetts is smartly sitting in this cap. There is a minute left. Now, even if he doesn't get the cap, right, we are still stopping their point influx. And that is when the Graf Zeppelin pops up. The Graf was probably trying to send it. I don't know why. It's better than carriers midway through the game trying to send it. You can see the torps from the Kagero on the right there. So the Kagero is kind of ahead on those little islands to the right. We're not worried about him, right? We can allow this Kagero to live. We have gotten our capture points and defended our capture points and killed the appropriate ships. So there's 30 seconds left, and we are slowly ticking into the winning category here. So we're down 4, we're down 6, but again, we have the cap advantage as long as this Massachusetts doesn't leave the cap. On top of that, we could either get a kill on the Kagero or the carrier here to win the game, but the Kagero is playing it smart, and I decide that I want to AP this carrier. And again, wishing the AP did what it did to that Atlanta, but unfortunately we get a little bit trolled. Also, I'm not sure where that shot went, but a few penetrations. If we would have had the reload booster, it would have been kill secured, but we got the win anyway, and we actually got the assist in cap. So a fantastic game with the Prinz Eugen, 150,000 damage, not too much damage. Here, I actually look at this Massachusetts score and I go, okay, fair play. He probably got a lot of XP from the planes, but he got a high caliber, a dev strike, and that capture at the end. But a 3K base XP score from us in the Prinz Eugen, one of my most favorite historic ships in the game that has a little bit of history behind it. But here is the build. We are running Augustin Riegerwald, Beyond Range, Kraken Shells, Punch Through, and Fixated, as well as Refill Station. You could run fully packed, but why? On top of that, we have Mimbelli and then Von Spee for speed. I'm not sure why we have speed on there. I'm sorry, Von Mueller for speed there. I think I was just partly trying to meme, but that is the build we are running, and that is the Prinz Eugen. I think she is still available in the store for global XP, so if you want a ship with a little bit of history behind it, that's, a half-decent cruiser, it's good at everything. It can tank, it has torpedoes, it has hydro, it has good, guns. Just an overall decent ship. Like we said earlier, I think the Hipper is a better overall package, but that one will, rage forever in the comments. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Hey, run out. Peace.